How are you able to make it make sense for you to have a return on investment? How are you able to charge a client in a way that it's fair for them, then it's not very overpriced for them, you still have clients coming to you, but at the same time you're still making ends meet.
Yeah.
You're breaking even.
Yeah, I think for me, what has worked, when I started, I would ask different makeup artists, how do you charge? How do you charge? Then I had to find my plane, so that it makes sense for me, it makes sense for them. So that would mean that however way I charge a client, it would still it meant that I still also had enough left for myself, you know, that would go back into the business or go back into saving, or also now maintain or sustain my life. So that's how I figured would work for me. I didn't necessarily copy someone else's price list because I didn't know what they valued their business on. So I had to look for what works for me that would still make sense for you as a client and for me as a service provider. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now you said you started in 2018.
Yes.
Shortly afterwards, we plunge into a pandemic. So now that being a new business, then how are you able to navigate that whole time, or you know what happened for you?
Yeah, for sure. For quite a few months, it had stalled, but I had to really think through what can I do different. So what I did, I took that time that there was little interaction with
business,
people,
yeah.
to put myself out there. So I started doing content creation, putting myself out there. I tried all sorts of things to just put my name out there, so that by the time things are coming back on the normal, at least people have heard about me and they really want to really try out my thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in this day and age, we always have a new trend coming up. We always have something new coming up. Before we were speaking, before the show started, and you're like, oh, you did a wing. Very bold, very bold of you, very old school of you to do a whole wing. So now there are always these new trends and this new, you know, styles and fashions coming up. How are you able to stay updated all the time?
I think social media, I believe social media is our friend. I mean, we get a lot of updates on, oh, this is trending, be it the light feathery brows done, or a wing that looks a certain way, or a shadow that looks a certain way. But one thing I think I really do appreciate, that regardless of how the trends are moving, not every client wants to be at par with the trend. So some of them want to still maintain, I want to still maintain a look that looks as elegant and decent as possible, but that is not out there or bold and the like. So I again, regardless of however the trends go or however the trends are, I'll always revert back to the client. What would you want? You know, so that I don't impose the trend on you, whereas you don't want to be on the trend wave. Yes.
Okay, and then now we come to, there's this thing where people say, I'm coming with my own makeup. You just come and, you know, use your skill on me. I have my own products. So now how are you able to navigate such clients? And do you accept such clients, or do you just tell them, listen, this is how I conduct business, you know, this is my price list. You either pay this or you find somebody else. I've had such clients who would prefer to use their products for whatever reasons. However, the prices do not change, because even when it comes to costing, there's very little that goes into, I've accounted this for products, and I always say it's the same. Let me give an example. You have been invited for an event and you're told the event costs 5,000, but you say, I don't eat certain food, I'll come with my own, but you still need to pay the 5,000 on the event. True.
So should you decide to not have whatever the event has catered for you, that's on you, but the event still costs 5,000. I think that's all that's a basic reasoning that I go with. So it's I'll listen to you, I'll still use your products, but the prices will not change.
Okay. And let's take a bit of a tangent right now and talk about this no makeup look, where somebody will look at you and say, oh, me, I like natural girls like you. And you know very well you have, you know, hips or foundation going on. You have a full face bit. It just looks a bit natural. So how are you able to, you know, I want a glam but not so glam look, you know. I want a bridal look, you know. So now how are you able to explain to your clients,
yes, it looks like you don't have makeup, but you actually have tons of makeup.
So now there is a difference between natural makeup and neutral makeup. So most of the time what people, their definition is correct, but their terming is wrong. So what they're explaining is a neutral look, because a neutral look literally is full-on foundation, contouring, and the likes. But they try to explain a natural look. A natural is just, you just highlight different features of your face, which it never translates to less makeup.